In the intricate web of online content creation, Destiny, the virtuoso streamer, embarks on a labyrinthine exploration of a controversy involving Hasanabi, JT, Second Thought, and the nebulous realm of Nebula.
This wouldn't have existed if Israel didn't do what it did. Hamas is filled with people who lost families and witnessed traumatic stuff. Their land was taken from them, and every single effort of peace didn't work, so they resorted to violence. Israel is responsible for their deaths. If Palestinians don't use violent means, how do you think Palestinians operate for their liberation as all other means were nullified? Bruh, I think they bombed the refugee camp again. No matter what Hamas does, people will discredit them. It's just like how the West still hates Hezbollah because they dared to push back against Israeli invasion. That's why the 2017 charter update doesn't matter and never gets acknowledged. Yeah.
You cannot be callous if you are speaking out against atrocities, or if you are speaking out against atrocities Israel commits. You cannot be callous in your celebration of Israeli civilians being slaughtered. Absolutely can, and always are callous and bloodthirsty when talking about the plight of Palestinians. If you're defending Palestinians, and you say whatever they want, like they're subhuman, they're these that all deserve to die, all the babies deserve to die. You can say all of that. Bloodthirsty congresspersons came out and said that on October 7th and October 8th. Okay? And they haven't stopped saying it. We've also supplied Israel with the bombs to these children. Okay? This double standard exists. This double standard will always exist. I highly doubt. Here, I'll give you another example. Second thought. JT said things that I do not agree with. I said this at the time. I said this when I was...
Did he say this at the time? I'm sorry, did he say that he didn't agree with it? I thought he said it was not productive. I never heard him say, I disagree with what JT said. I heard him say it wasn't productive to talk about the justification for babies because they were settler colonialists. That's what I heard. Maybe I misheard, or maybe there's a clip where he actually says, oh, I actually disagree with what he's saying here.
I was talking to Ethan on Leftovers. Love JT. Love Second Thought. I think he's very thoughtful. I think he makes great videos. Okay? What he said on October 7th was not something that I agree with. He also took a callous position. And one that
JT went a little far.
I do not agree with. I will say it over and over again. What happened? Nebula dropped them. Nebula, which is very thoughtful for the most part, dropped them. They dropped them. Now listen.
Funny, careful, when you say Nebula dropped him, it's kind of funny the way he phrases that. My understanding is, isn't Nebula like a co-op? Nebula is a joint venture between Standard and the creators, with a minority holding by CuriosityStream. Profits from subscriptions are divided equally between creators and Standard based on watch time. Nebula is a cooperatively owned by all of the creators that are on that platform thing. So when he says Nebula dropped him, it sounds like he's implying that some capitalist hedge fund overlord did, but it was probably an agreement that most of the creators made to drop him from that. Just saying, because Hasanabi's presenting that in a strange way. Unless there's something different that I'm missing there that hasn't been made public or something. But so his peers, it wasn't that Nebula, the evil capitalistly funded company, dropped him. It was his peers that decided they don't want to work with him anymore. His comrades, one might say.
Say it over and over again. What happened? Nebula dropped them. Nebula, which is very thoughtful for the most part, dropped them. They dropped them. Now listen. You do agree with that? That means mischaracterized as settlers are not civilians, not that Israelis are not civilians. You have to be very careful with your sentiment, is what I'm saying. Okay? Now Nebula dropped them for those takes. Okay? I thought he said they voluntarily parted. Okay, that's not what happened with Nebula. I don't know the exact details. I thought he was dropped by Nebula. My point is this.
Okay, he doesn't even know. He has no idea. He doesn't know anything about it. Okay, well, whatever. Good one.
I doubt that in the aftermath of October 7th, or right now, if people were saying things that are infinitely more callous about Israel's continued bombing campaign and how it is a necessity to keep killing these children, that they would get the same recourse. They would get the same kind of backlash. It does not exist. So I ask you, as someone whose position is very clear on this, no matter how much people try to bastardize it, okay? I ask you, you know I do not value a Palestinian life over an Israeli one. You know that I do not value an Israeli life over a Palestinian one. Especially when...
By the way, Hassan was in chat agreeing with Second Thought for the comments. I got him dropped. I don't think he was in chat agreeing with them. He was in chat saying other things, like offering them VTuber things. I don't remember there being messages of Hassan saying, I agree with this specific thing. Now, he probably did agree with them, but I don't think there were messages saying that. I don't think that's true. How come First Thought releases this week aren't showing up on Nebula? FT, and the D program are no longer partnered with the Nebula. It wasn't a good fit anymore. Is there a reason you and the boys can share / have shared about the split? Just asking, since I liked watching the vids there, knowing y'all were getting a better cut compared to my ad blocker covered YouTube. We mutually decided it was time to part ways. Some Nebula creators wanted me to make a clarifying statement on my position regarding Israel and Palestine. And it was just getting too close to a both sides thing for me, which felt like compromising my principles. Just a difference in priorities, business optics versus taking a principled stance. Bro wouldn't clarify.
The convoluted saga unfolds with Hasanabi's denouncement of JT over a tweet, a digital skirmish that resonates with ideological overtones and linguistic acrobatics akin to the eloquent Patrick O'Bahiagbin. Hasanabi, with the fervor of a digital crusader, lambasts JT for his controversial comments about justifications for killing Israeli civilians. Destiny, the linguistic maestro, dissects this skirmish, unraveling the layers of complexity that Hasanabi's denouncement conceals. He peers into the intricacies of Nebula, discovering that it operates as a cooperative owned collectively by all the creators on the platform, adding an additional layer of nuance to the unfolding drama. Destiny, with surgical precision, critiques Hasanabi's claim that Nebula dropped JT, highlighting the potential misdirection it imparts. He elucidates that the decision was likely a collective one made by the creators on Nebula rather than a unilateral capitalist move. In the linguistic labyrinth, Destiny underscores the importance of precision in language, urging for accurate representations of situations, especially in the volatile arena of online controversies. The maestro of discourse further probes into the potential double standards embedded in the digital sphere. Destiny questions whether similar fervor and backlash would materialize if callous comments were made about Israel's bombing campaign, challenging the underlying dynamics of online discourse. He emphatically asserts his commitment to the equitable valuation of Israeli and Palestinian lives, refusing to prioritize one over the other in the tangled web of geopolitical complexities. Amidst the linguistic ballet, Destiny delves into the intricacies of Hasanabi's presence during the conversation, casting doubt on the claim that Hasanabi explicitly endorsed Second Thought's controversial comments. The linguistic sleight of hand here is subtle, as Destiny navigates through the nuances of online interactions, dissecting the layers of agreement, disagreement, and the elusive specter of tacit endorsement. The symphony of Destiny's linguistic prowess crescendos with a brief interlude addressing the departure of First Thought and the D program from Nebula. Second Thought's revelation that he left Nebula because fellow content creators sought clarification on his tweet about the Israel-Palestine situation adds another layer to the intricate dance of principles and priorities. In the intricate realm of digital discourse, the enigma of Second Thought, a self-proclaimed communist, refraining from presenting a perceived both sides narrative in the Israel-Palestine situation, unveils itself as a puzzle wrapped in ideological intricacies. Second Thought, navigating the ideological labyrinth with the flair of a linguistic virtuoso, opts for a strategic stance to avoid the pitfalls of equivocation in a deeply polarized geopolitical context. The underlying motivation for Second Thought's reluctance to appear as both-siding the Israel-Palestine situation resides in his explicit pro-Palestine stance. As a self-avowed communist, Second Thought aligns himself with a particular ideological paradigm that emphasizes solidarity with marginalized and oppressed communities. In the Israel-Palestine conundrum, where power dynamics and historical injustices play a significant role, Second Thought's commitment to the Palestinian cause demands a nuanced and unambiguous positioning. Second Thought's aversion to being perceived as both-siding the conflict reflects a strategic consideration to maintain ideological coherence. Communism, as an ideological framework, often scrutinizes power differentials and critiques imperialistic structures. By unequivocally supporting the Palestinian cause, Second Thought aligns his ideological stance with a narrative that highlights the struggles of the oppressed against perceived oppressors. In the linguistic ballet of online discourse, Second Thought's nuanced approach to avoid both-siding also speaks to the inherent challenges of navigating a digital landscape fraught with polarized perspectives. Presenting a balanced narrative in the Israel-Palestine situation can be misconstrued as an attempt to dilute the gravity of the Palestinian struggle, inadvertently benefiting the status quo. For Second Thought, maintaining clarity in his pro-Palestine position is paramount to avoid dilution of the narrative he wishes to amplify. Moreover, Second Thought's reluctance to both-side the conflict may be rooted in a recognition of the power dynamics at play and a rejection of false equivalences. The Israel-Palestine situation is marked by a substantial power imbalance, where the Israeli state possesses military might and political influence. By refraining from both-siding, Second Thought may seek to highlight the disproportionate impact on the Palestinian population, reinforcing the asymmetric nature of the conflict. The intricacies of Second Thought's stance also delve into the complexities of online discourse, where narratives can be easily distorted and intentions can be misconstrued. In the volatile arena of digital controversies, presenting a nuanced perspective often requires careful consideration to avoid inadvertently lending credence to opposing narratives. Second Thought's strategic approach underscores the challenges content creators face when navigating ideological minefields, especially in a context as sensitive as the Israel-Palestine situation. Destiny, with a linguistic flourish, suggests that divergent priorities and a commitment to principled stances might have been the catalyst for this separation. In Destiny's linguistic odyssey, the controversy surrounding Hasanabi, JT, and Nebula becomes a canvas painted with intricate strokes of nuance and complexity. The linguistic tapestry woven by Destiny navigates the labyrinthine landscape of online discourse, revealing layers of ideological clashes, linguistic precision, and the intricacies of digital collaborations.